children, this is your 4th maths lesson this week, and today we will be multiplying unit and non-unit fractions by integers. An integer is a whole number. A unit fraction is a fraction over 1, and a non-unit fraction is a fraction greater than 1. I remember in class that you found this really simple, and I know that you will again. 3 children are given 1/4 of a chocolate bar. So he's given a quarter, she's given a quarter, and she's given a quarter. How much chocolate do they have all together? So it's 3 multiplied by a quarter, but it's the same as 3 lots of a quarter. So 1/4, add 1/4, add 1/4. It's 3/4, isn't it? Really, really simple. 3 children are given 1/5 of a chocolate bar each. How much chocolate do they have all together? So there's 3 children, one of them gets a 1/5, another one gets a 1/5, and the other one gets a 1/5. So how much chocolate have they all got? Well, here's the chocolate bar. We've split it into 5 equal pieces. There's 3 children and they each get a 1/5. So one child gets this, one child gets this, and one child gets this. So how much chocolate do they have all together? 3/5, which is 1/5 multiplied by 3, or 1/5, add 1/5, add 1/5. Seeing it in a different way now, we've got 1/7 multiplied by 4. So we've got a bar split into 7 equal pieces. One piece is shaded in, so this is 1/7. But we want 4 lots of 1/7. So 1/7, and another 7th, and another 7th, and another 7th. What's the answer? You're right, it's 4/7. It's the same as 1/7, add 1/7, add 1/7, add 1/7 when you're doing 1/7 times 4. So now have a go at this one. Pause the video while you write your answer down. So 1/6, 1 out of 6 pieces, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6. 1/6 add 1/6 add 1/6 add 1/6 equals 4/6. Now we need to look at the numbers involved here. So when you multiply fractions, these two numbers get multiplied together and the denominator just stays the same at the bottom. So 1 multiplied by 4 is 4 and the denominator stays as 7. Here you're multiplying the 1 by the 4 and you get 4, and then you have a 6 at the bottom still. 3 children are given 1/3 of the chocolate bar each. 5 children are given 1/5 of the chocolate bar each. Which story gives the most chocolate altogether? Write it down. So 3 children are given 1/3 of the chocolate bar. 1/3 times 3. So one child gets 1/3, another child gets 1/3, and another child gets 1/3. So what's the answer? It's 3/3, or a whole one. If 5 children are given 1/5 of the chocolate bar each, that's 1/5 multiplied by 5, which is the same as 1/5, add 1/5, add 1/5, add 1/5, add 1/5. 5 children, they each get a 1/5. So it's 5/5, which is the same as 1 whole one. So the stories give the same amount of chocolate. They both give 1 whole chocolate bar. Now have a go at these questions. Pause the video while you work them out. Okay, so if I've got 1/7, what do I multiply 1/7 by so that I've got 5/7 altogether? So 1/7, 1 out of 7, add something, add something, add something, add something, add something. It's going to give me 5/7. What is my missing number? It's 5, isn't it? Remember, this multiplied by this gives you this number here, and the denominator stays the same. So 1/7 add 1/7 add 1/7 add 1/7 add 1/7 is 5/7. That's the same as 1/7 times 5. So this one, 1/4 multiplied by 5, we multiply these two numbers together and get 5. The denominator stays the same. That's 1/4, add 1/4, add 1/4, add 1/4, add 1/4. So you've got 5 quarters. That is greater than 1, so we could change that into a mixed number, 1 and 1/4. Because 5 divided by 4 is 1, remainder 1. This one's a little bit trickier. 1/3 multiplied by what equals 2 2/3? What could you do with 2 2/3? That's right, you could turn it into an improper fraction. So 2 whole ones, each with 3 sections, so 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 more left over is 8. 8/3. So 1/3 multiplied by what gives you 8/3? It's 8, isn't it? Because you multiply the 1 and the 8 together to get your 8, and the denominator stays the same. We are now multiplying non-unitary fractions, which means that this is not a 1 anymore, it's bigger than 1. What do you think the answer is? Write it down if you know it. So remember, we just multiply these two numbers together, which gives us 4, and the denominator stays the same. 2/5 times 2 means 2/5 add 2/5, so it's 4/5. You've got 3 questions to have a go at now. Pause the video while you do this. So this means 3/5 add 3/5, 2 of them, which will give us 6/5. And 3 times 2 is 6. This means 3/6 add 3/6. So we've got 6/6. 3 times 2 is 6. Denominator stays the same. That's the same as a whole one. 3/7 add 3/7 is 6/7. Also 3 times 2 is 6. So it equals 6/7. Now this is a tricky challenge for you. See if you can find out what number is missing. So a fraction, when multiplied by 2, gives you 1 whole one. If you do it the other way, 1 divided by the 2 gives you this answer. What is 1 divided by 2? It's a half, isn't it? So what fraction is the same as a half? Well, I multiply this by 6, so I multiply this by 6. I'm going to get 12. Look, 6 is half of 12. So 6/12 multiplied by 2 gives us a whole one. It's 6/12 of 6/12, which makes 12/12, which is a whole one. Or 6 times 2 is 12. The denominator stays the same, and 12/12 is the same as a whole one, so it works. This is your last slide of the day. Have a go. Okay, so really quickly, it means 4/7 add 4/7 add 4/7 add 4/7. That's 16/7. 4 times 4 is 16. The 7 stays the same. 5 times 9 is 45. And the denominator stays the same. 9 lots of 5/10. 5/10 add 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 5/10. And then 9/11 times 4. 9 times 4 is 36, and the denominator stays the same. Now if you haven't already, I'd like you to turn them into mixed numbers. So 16 divided by 7 is 2 whole ones, because 2 sevens make 14, and there's 2 left over, and the denominator stays the same. 45 divided by 10, 4 tens go into 40, and there's 5 left over. 4 and 5/10, which is the same as 4 1/2. And then 36 11ths, how many 11s go into 36? 3 11s go into 33, 3 left over. Well done, we'll see you tomorrow for some family challenge Friday challenges. See you then.